Hey travelers, Mag and I here on day 250 of our trip around the United States. We have come into our final 2 days exploring the state of Arizona. For today's route, we have 280 miles to cover as we make our way out of Phoenix, through Wittman, into Wickenburg, and all the way out in Delorme Page 41. From there, we're going to turn around and begin heading our way back east and north through Prescott to make it into Flagstaff to bring our day to an end. We don't have that many pages to cover today, so we shouldn't have that difficult of a time finishing up our goals. There are a lot of virtuals on the agenda for today. We've gotten a pretty early start here in the morning, so I believe that we are going to have time to pursue all of them. But our main goal for the day is the Arizona Delorme Challenge Final outside of Prescott. It will require some hiking and possibly, once again, some all-wheel driving to get a little further up the trail before we start that hiking. So we need to make sure we reserve enough time for that in the middle of our day to ensure we can get out there, hike to the final, and add our names to the logbook. With the exception of the pages in the Arizona Delorme Challenge Final today, the rest we can shift as we need to make sure that we are ending things off in Flagstaff. I am expecting a day filled with great geocaches, interesting sights, and once again, more of the desert beauty of Arizona. Let's get out there and see what today has in store. Come on, let's go.
Welcome to the small town of Wickenburg in Yavapai County with a population of right about 8,000 people. The area surrounding what is now Wickenburg, along with most of the Southwest, became a part of the United States with the 1848 treaty that ended the Mexican-American War. The 1862 gold strike along the Colorado River brought a lot of prospectors to the area who searched for potential minerals throughout central Arizona. One of the very first prospectors to reach this area was a Prussian named Henry Wickenburg. He had been born into a coal and steel town in what is now modern-day Germany. Together with the help of his brother, he mined coal on the land which his family owned. Unfortunately for the family, the Prussian government raided the family farm, claiming the mineral rights to the property. With nothing left to his name, Henry Wickenburg immigrated to the United States, arriving at the port of New York in 1847. He immediately set out toward San Francisco, where he learned how to prospect and pan for gold. Then, in 1862, he joined the Pauline Weaver Party, who had struck gold in the Antelope Peak, and together traveled into the interior of what was then the Arizona Territory. While out on that expedition, he discovered the Vulture mine, from which more than $30 million worth of gold has been dug. So from his efforts, the town of Wickenburg was founded, and the most important gold mine in the state of Arizona began to be mined. Making our way between Wittman, Wickenburg, and riding the road west out toward Wyndon, we needed to make a few finds to ensure that we secured each of these Delorme pages. Most of the ones that we chose to target along this stretch of desert were fairly easy to locate, as, with a lot of other geocaches, the suspicious pile of rocks gave them away. After you've been geocaching in the desert for a while, anytime you see rocks stacked up, they start to look suspicious. Everything's looking pretty good here, maybe just one more before we hit the road.
All right, I think I got it. Looks like it's right.
Coming out of Wickenburg at about 2,000 feet of elevation, we began to make our way up through the mountain range to Prescott at an elevation of 5,400 feet. Arizona Route 89 steadily ascends its way through the Weaver Mountains on a series of switchbacks known as Yarnell Hill. Up near the top of the hills, you can find the Granite Mountain Hotshots Memorial State Park, created to memorialize the 19 members of the Granite Mountain Hotshots who died on June 30th of 2013 while fighting the Yarnell Hill fire. The park can be accessed at the end of a 3.5-mile hiking trail from this parking area. Memorial plaques for each of the 19 hotshots can be found embedded into rock formations along the trail at approximately every 600 feet, arranged in order of seniority of the crew. Continuing our climb toward the geographic center of the state at our next destination, we are treated to beautiful views of the Bradshaw Mountains all around us. Then, just like that, we find ourselves entering the city of Prescott, the county seat of Yavapai County with a population of about 45,000 people. From its inception, Prescott was the home to Fort Whipple, which acted as a base for campaigns against natives in the area. Upon its discovery, Prescott was immediately recognized as a great source of both gold and silver minerals. The abundance of each quickly made this little hamlet the most important city in northern Arizona. It did not take long at all for this to become the stereotypical Wild West town, with famous residents like Doc Holliday and Virgil Earp. Over the years, the town transformed from wood to brick as fire took most of the original structures. Interestingly, Prescott was twice the capital of the Arizona Territory. The first of which was in 1864 when it replaced the temporary capital of Fort Whipple. It was short-lived that time, however, with the territorial capital moving to Tucson by 1867. It again became the territorial capital in 1877 until it was permanently moved to Phoenix in 1889. As most of the interesting targets that we had on the list today were scattered throughout the city of Prescott, we had all the encouragement we needed to get out there and explore this beautiful town. It seemed that no matter which direction we turned, there were statues or murals pointing to the town's Western history. And one of its most notable claims to fame in Western history is being home to the world's oldest rodeo, running since 1888. Unlike many other cities that we have been in, most of the murals that we found were not on the sides of buildings facing busy roads. Instead, they were tucked around back alleys and behind local businesses. But if you're willing to check the nooks and crannies, you may discover some beautiful treasures. Which is exactly what we did as we tracked down many of the geocaches scattered around Prescott that we wanted to be able to add our names to. It's always interesting when you find a typical container hidden in an atypical place. A trait that Prescott seemed to capitalize on, taking places where most people would put smalls and micros and instead hiding regulars stacked full of trackables and other goods to be able to trade. While I'm not interested in trading out swag, every now and then I do come across something at a geocache that I want to keep.
Check it out. I didn't just find a geocache, I made a new friend. He's not even camera shy. I like this little guy. You want to come with me? We're heading over to Oklahoma and New Mexico next. You want to go? Right up there if you do. Guess that makes it official. One more.
Coming out of Prescott, it is time to begin the last leg of our journey for the day, moving toward Flagstaff through Sedona. But before we can do that, we have to stop off for our main target, the Arizona Delorme Challenge Final. To reach the ground zero, we must traverse into the mountains of the Prescott National Forest. Following the information on the page and that I had received from the cache owner in our coordination leading up to this, I knew that I was in for quite the journey. It consisted of a 1.5 mile drive down a 4x4 trail before beginning to a trailhead that's another 3/4 mile up the mountain. Unfortunately, I did not feel comfortable driving even a little bit of the 4x4 portion of the trail, so I immediately set out on foot with a 2.5 mile hike ahead of us straight up into the mountains. Having taken it fairly easy for most of the day, Ai-chan was actually on board with this hike. She stuck right by my side the entire time as we continued our ascent, moving from the 4x4 trail to the hiking portion, which was filled with loose gravel and a fight for every step. Things actually got a little bit easier when we reached the off-trail portion as it flattened out a little bit and all the rocks disappeared behind us. Ai-chan followed me reluctantly away from the trail, and I had to assure her that we were not going too far from it at all. As soon as we reached the ground zero, my geosenses lit up. I saw a suspicious pile of rocks and immediately jumped in. But wait, where's the geocache? It is not where my geosenses or my coordinates agree it should be. Ai-chan got comfortable and waited as I continued to search and search with the sun setting down on us.
All right, and it looks like that is going to do it for our day. We hiked all the way up here for the Arizona Delorme Challenge Final, about 2.5 miles. Wouldn't you know it, we spent the last hour here covering the ground zero, absolutely covering a 50-foot radius back and forth. and we have not been able to come up with the find. We're about out of daylight now and have to start making our way down the trail. Unfortunately, we will be leaving empty-handed, but that's the way it goes. You can't find them all. And the fact of the matter is, we are still going to complete all of the Arizona Delorme pages, even if we can't complete the final. Hold the phone, hold the phone, hold the phone. What's this, you say? We have come back down from that mountain, regained signal, were able to refresh the page, and learned that the challenge owner for the Arizona Delorme Challenge just moved the location a couple of days ago. We refreshed the cache page about a week ago, so we just barely missed the update. We have hiked 2.5 miles in the wrong direction for a geocache that's not even there anymore. It is on that mountain range right behind us. That sun is sinking quickly. So we are going to go ahead, get back to the car, and then we're gonna finish this thing. And I guess we'll find out in the morning whether or not we were successful in finding the Arizona Delorme Challenge Final. Thank you guys for joining us. Like this video, subscribe, stay tuned for daily updates, and we'll see you out on the trails.